Welcome everyone back to Weekly Weather Updates, and this afternoon we'll have a look at the latest GFS ensembles, and then we'll have a look at some precipitation charts from the various models. We'll have a look at the weather warnings, the live radar, and the CET for April. Do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you do like and subscribe, as it really does help me out. Make sure you do check me out on Twitter as well, as I'm providing more up-to-date information about the weather day to day. So firstly, we'll have a look at the latest GFS, and we'll just run through this quickly, because in this video I mainly want to have a look at the big sort of storm coming tomorrow. It's not a named storm, but it's going to have quite significant impacts with yellow warnings enforced. So we'll run through to about day 10 on this GFS, and you can see that low pressure really spiralling up in the Atlantic before arriving in sort of Northern Ireland, islands, parts of Scotland by around Monday morning, before spreading across most parts of the United Kingdom throughout the afternoon of Bank Holiday Monday. So it's going to be a big washout. If you do have anything to do on Bank Holiday Monday outdoors, make sure you do it in the morning, as if you're in the east, and perhaps in the evening if you're further westwards. Again, it's difficult to say how much rain will linger around. At this stage, it does look like the wet rain bands will sweep through pretty quickly, at least the heaviest stuff. But we'll have a look at the precipitation in a minute and have a look more at timings. So as we move beyond that, we do start to pull in a northerly wind, and we do start to pull in some quite cold air again in from the north. The 528 dam line does come in, so that's another indication of the potential for snow. The -5 isotherm comes through. So yeah, quite cold air mass re-enters the country. Again, unlikely to produce a lot of snow, just mainly over hills of Scotland, perhaps northern England as well, and then maybe overnight to lower levels if we do see any heavier precipitation. But I'm not expecting anything too significant. It will, however, mean whenever skies do clear, we will likely see more overnight frosts, continuing on from a very, very frosty April. I think one of the frostiest Aprils on record. Now, beyond that, we have lower pressure in off the Atlantic, but it doesn't really rattle in too quickly, as we've got a bit of blocking towards Greenland. But this is where we start to pull in the sort of northerly or northeasterly winds once again, with a low tracking quite far southwards through France, and again colder air sinking in from the north. But we'll continue to have a look at the upper air mass. As you can see, we get a brief ridge of higher pressure, and as we head towards day 10, you can see that high pressure does start to go over the top of the country, and we do start to pull in sort of an easterly wind. Now, the easterly wind this time of year is not particularly cold, considering its origins coming more down from the Mediterranean and coming off a reasonably warm continent. Perhaps not particularly warm this year, but generally it is quite warmer, a lot warmer than easterly would be during the winter. And you can see we do go a bit more settled with warmer temperatures. So there's a trend I'm starting to see on some of the runs. That is, in the longer term, we are building warmer air coming in, perhaps with more high pressure, but again, really is subject to change. If we now have a look at the GFS ensembles, this is the midnight run, so it's slightly different to that current GFS run. And you can see the current GFS run didn't really, so the 6Z didn't really show this spike in temperatures that we're going to see in around 7 days' time. This is when we were potentially looking at a brief heat wave, and there's still a decent chance of that, but you can see there is a lot of precipitation around, so it's very much going to be dependent on cloud amounts and rain. So you can see over the next few days a lot of precipitation spikes coming in, and you see a lot of rain bands, showers, convective showers. You can see that big spike here of around half an inch of rain. That's for that Monday evening or Monday afternoon for London, for that heavy rain coming in. And then you can see the temperatures are reasonably quite low, around -4, -5 at 850 HPA, before rising quite quickly for that potentially little brief heat wave, getting to around maybe 5 to 10 degrees at 850 HPA. Beyond that, it does drop down again, but again, there's a lot of scatter around, and you can't really call anything too significant from that. No ensemble members going very warm, none are going very cold either, so again, around average in the longer term. There is still a signal for precipitation, but nothing too significant at this stage, so we can't really say whether it's going to be low pressure dominated or high pressure dominated, as there still is a lot of uncertainty. If we have a look at the 2 metre temperatures, if we go back to the midnight run, you can see how over the next few days, only around 12 to 13 degrees, perhaps even colder, when we do have persistent rain and temperatures don't really rise too much. You can see when we do see that temperature rise, potentially in about a week's time, you do see There are some moments getting up to around 20 degrees or so for a couple of days. Others drop down quite quickly, and some never even get up to never really get above 15 degrees. So again, a lot of uncertainty at this stage. You do see in the longer term there are some members going even warmer than 20 degrees. Now they are outliers, of course, and you did see in the 850 HPA temperature a minute ago, there weren't that many ensemble members going particularly warm, but this time of year when you have strong sunshine, we are getting to sort of the apex for sunshine in the year. It doesn't take too much to get temperatures into the 20s. It's just we've really struggled this year as we've had quite cold air masses aloft. Now, if we run through the latest GFS run, we'll just have a look at the precipitation over the next few days, and we'll also have a look at the wind gusts as well. So as you can see, a few April showers around today. We'll have a look at the live radar in a minute. And then you can see the heavy rain move through. Potential for some snow on the leading edge in Scotland and northern hills as well. And again on its back edge as well. You do see the rain band does sweep through quite quickly, engulfing most of the country around Monday afternoon into Monday evening, before sweeping through for the early hours of Tuesday. If we have a look at the sustained winds, we've run through quite light at the moment with westerly winds, and you can see really picks up. And that's why we got these yellow warnings in force in the south of potentially 30 to 40 mile an hour sustained winds. And you can see the strongest winds are on the southern flank. Strongest winds around in southern England, parts of Wales as well. And if we have a look at the wind gusts as well, for that same time, you can see potentially 60 or 70 mile an hour wind gusts. So potential for some damaging winds, and as trees and plants come into leaf, there is a decent chance we could see some disruption, at least a lot of blowing branches, and potentially some trees could come down. If we now have a look at the GM run, you can see again a few April showers around today, and then you see the big rain band coming tomorrow, a bit of snow on its leading edge, and again sweep through Monday afternoon into Monday evening, and then again a few showers on the back edge of that. If we have a look at the wind gusts in miles per hour, you can see generally around 30, 40, maybe even 50 mile an hour sustained winds on this latest GM. So a bit stronger than the GFS, but nothing too significant for a low pressure system coming in off the Atlantic. It's just really the time of year that is the weird thing with this area of low pressure. If we now have a look at the icon model, have a look at the precipitation firstly, you can see again April showers, and then we've got the heavy rain coming in tomorrow, and we've got some snow on the leading edge. Very sustained heavy rain actually across the whole of the weather front, and it does sweep through quite quickly. So by Monday night into Tuesday morning, most of the rain is cleared, and then there'll be just a few showers around. If we have a look at the wind gusts, you can see icon model shows potentially 60, maybe even 70 mile an hour wind gusts, especially across southern England and southwestern parts, and even parts of East Anglia, parts of Wales as well. That's where we could see the strongest winds. Over some hills in northern England as well. As the rain front initially comes in, there could be some strong winds, and as ever with Ireland and the western coast of Ireland, there's always going to be strong winds. If we now have a look at the latest radar from the Weather Channel, you can see a lot of April showers popping up. Probably not as many as yesterday, as we have some higher pressure, especially for the southwards and westwards. But generally there'll still be a few showers around. You can see they're dotting up in the south and southeast. Some heavier showers in the north, and then a few showers in Scotland as well. And those will continue to pop up throughout the day and spread eastwards. If we have a look at the mean central England temperature, you can see April did come out 1.5 degrees below average. So a very cold month indeed, 6.4 degrees for its CET. So almost a degree colder than March, which is pretty exceptional really, as March can have some really snowy spells in it. But our March was 1.5 degrees above average, so pretty warm at March. Compared to this April, and you can see May has started out very cold as well, but that is simply because we've had overnight frost, so the temperatures are pushed down quite a bit with overnight frost early in the month. If we now have a look at the latest UK weather warnings, you can see the yellow warning in southern England, or at least was along the south coast, has been extended through most of southern England, most of southern Wales, parts of East Anglia, and the South Midlands as well. You can see by those wind charts I showed you a minute ago, there is probably a decent reason for that, as you can see 30, 40, 50 mile an hour gusts could spread inland. And again, the update shows the same sort of details, so 40-50 mile an hour inland and 60-65 around the coast, and you can see that's well reflected in the models. I do not expect it really to change too much. It's probably too late now to really change this too much, and there's probably not too much uncertainty within the models, as this low pressure system has been pretty well modelled. So I do expect any amber warnings to be enforced. Perhaps as the event happens, there could be sort of nowcast rain warnings enforced parts of northern England and parts of Scotland as well. But again, I'll update those as they happen. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.